Hey, we're here and we're back with return guest Mr. Kevin Koskella from useworkhero.com. And after spending many years building online businesses using WordPress, Mr. Kevin wanted to create a service that handled all these often annoying tasks so that your business can easily move things forward and you can stop wasting your time with all the technical headaches. And now Work Hero is a technical partner for marketing agencies. They work as a subscription-based flat fee service, offering WordPress development, support, proactive maintenance, white label. They are currently managing 900 plus websites for more than 60 digital agencies across the US. So we're going to find out what Work Hero was all about, how they stand out, how Kevin stays motivated, and maybe even a little bit about WordPress itself. So Kevin, glad to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you, Robert. Thanks for having me back.
Glad to have you back. And so, in the spirit of that, what has you excited? What's timely? What's new? What's the current cutting edge with you?
Yeah, well, obviously AI is the cutting edge thing right now, and we've been having regular meetings with our company, with our developers and kind of the management, and trying to figure out what's the best way to use AI, utilize AI, and so that we remain relevant and that we can keep providing the service that we do for our customers. Because you know how it is. It's like if you're not on AI, you're gonna quickly be out of business. So we're using it in a few different ways, and we're starting to look at how else we can use it. And it'll start with some really basics like onboarding clients. That's how the first way we're kind of doing that so that we can automate it. And then our developers are always on the latest and best uses of all the different tools out there. So yeah, that's it for the cutting edge stuff. I don't know if there's anything else to really, but these days I think that's the topic, right?
Yeah, and it's a topic that's important, like you said, to not just necessarily to slap an AI label on it on your marketing. Like there's so many tools I use where there's the for some reason the icon of like the starriness has become kind of like, oh, that's the AI icon. And sometimes I see it and it's like, does Google Docs really need to have that, or does my Gmail really need to have that?
Mhm.
But then, and there's like that tendency to like use AI as like, oh, well, we do it too, or marketing. But then I like how you put it of like, well, use AI to stay on the cutting edge, right? If someone is using AI to crank out their content, figure out their websites, get their SEO dialed in, whatever it is, then it's like, well, you need to also be part of that. And there's also, I get so overwhelmed. Like, I know I can't stay ignorant of it, but then when I learn about all these AI things, I feel like I always have the fear of missing out, right? You see all these
Yeah.
demos, especially where they say, I spent 5 seconds and it built me a whole website using AI. I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. And then sometimes I'm jealous, envious of these WordPress sites that have like a little chat in the corner, and you can tell that they like loaded up their knowledge base there, so you can just like do a chat and instantly get an answer without having to poke around the whole website. But as far as like what you've been doing with AI, with your agency, with these WordPress websites that you're building, is there like a specific use where you think like, ooh, that makes us stand out, or like that's not enough people are using AI in that way?
It really just comes down to speed because as we move forward with all these tools, it's just going to get easier and easier to build websites. And we're trying to be as fast and as efficient as we can. And so there's nothing magical right now. It's just how can we make things faster? Because if we can typically build like a simple website, like a 5 page um, website, like built by Elementor or something in a few days, like 3 days or something, then with AI, could we do it in less? Could we do it in 2 days, one day? And at some point, just a few, enter a few clicks and get that website built. So, we're just trying to prepare for that speed of, because I was using this other tool a few days ago, Manus. I don't know if you've heard of Manus,
Heard of
but
it.
it's kind of new, and it's out of China, and it's a task system, so you can have it do tasks. It's not just like ChatGPT with like getting responses. And I was having it do like it was having it prepare emails for me for a campaign that we're doing. And once it did everything, and then once it was done, it said, "Would you like a web page with this?" So to explain what you're trying to explain, and I'm like, "Sure." So I clicked on that, and then it created a web page based on the Work Hero website, like how it looks and feels and everything, and all within a few minutes. I mean, it was just, so I was pretty blown away. So that stuff is coming, and it's only going to get better. So
Yeah, and that's a good reminder that I need to go play around with Manus because I did a little bit of the Chat GBT operator as far as the having it do tasks, and I was like, I'm not even sure what I want to use it for. I'm like, well, they'll use it to like answer some LinkedIn messages, answer some emails, and it was kind of slow, and I had to do them one at a time. But like, hey, that's a good spark of an idea. I'll use it to play around with a WordPress website and build something because, like, to be honest, like ever since the page builders came out, like the Gutenbergs and the Elementors and the Beaver builders and all that, it like they kind of lost me. And I'm like, okay, like, do I need to like hire a team or hire someone to like build this? And I can't be the only one, right? Like, I feel kind of like
Mhm.
left behind when all the like all there's all these the end result looks great, right? These kind of multi-column like block based designs. But whenever I jump into the back end, there's like 10 plugins, there's like 52 menus. I'm like beyond overwhelmed. So like, is it just me? Do people come to your agency and say the block builders sort of lost me?
Yeah, I mean, that it happens. We mostly work with agency owners, and so some of them are technical, some of them are not, some of them are more business focused. And so a lot of times it's just kind of what their clients are demanding. So if the client wants a website on Elementor, then they just do it that way. And yeah, I think we've had a kind of a combination of agencies that come to us with they want a specific page builder like Elementor, or they really want custom code. And so it can be either way. It just depends on the agency, what type of clients that they work with, and what the complexities are.
Well, great. And you bring up an interesting point there of like with the custom code, and sometimes people say, "Hey, I know I want this," or I don't want to throw it all out and build it from scratch. Maybe someday Manos will do that, but like I have a real business. I have things in place. I can't just for fun start from scratch. And sometimes I do use some of these other page builders if I need to make a really quick web page, but it seems like no one beats WordPress as far as basically being able to do anything, right? If you need it to get done, it might be a little tricky with the themes and the plugins and the custom code, but you can get it done. And so, but sometimes there's some like there's the WordPress drama, or there's always be the haters. So in this day and age, with like there's always there's naysayers of WordPress, but you see that percentage of websites being powered by WordPress growing and growing. Like, what are your thoughts on? There's sometimes the pushback on WordPress, or people always like look at reasons they don't like it. Like, what's the current sales pitch for WordPress?
Yeah, it's funny because ever since I've been in this business, people have been calling for the end of WordPress, and there's something that's always around the corner that it's going to take its place. I even at one point someone was trying to convince me that Wix was going to be the next thing, and WordPress was going to go away because Wix. But I mean, that's not. I mean, I'm not slamming Wix or anything like that, but it was just that Wix was coming out. I think this was about a year and a half ago. Wix was coming out with like kind of it wasn't quite AI. I wouldn't say it was AI, but it was like a really easy way to build websites, and so it was going to take over for WordPress. But no, I still think WordPress is the best. And despite all the drama and some of the haters out there, 43% of the world's websites are WordPress. It's definitely not going away, and it just allows for so much more flexibility, for so much more growth. And with all the plugins that are available out there, you just can't compare it to anything else. And I like Webflow actually. I'm not a I'm a fan of Webflow, but I just don't. It's not at the stage of overtaking WordPress anytime soon. Webflow did come out with their AI builder. I haven't looked at it yet, but it just came out I think about a week ago or so, and that could be something that eventually competes. But yeah, I think it's just like it's so far behind. I mean, WordPress does all the branding. They've got the environment is so set up for WordPress websites. I mean, you can do just about anything right now. So I'm not too worried about it. And I think right now we have plenty of work. There's plenty of agencies coming to us. They've got lots of work to do, building websites, taking care of issues, all that kind of thing.
Well, great, and that's good to know, right? That there's sometimes people say, "Well, I've seen this so much, I want something new," and it's like, yeah, but as far as what's practical, what's solid, what's making money, that's fine. If you, as a cog in a machine working for some agency, if you're bored with that, great. But like, look at the 43%. Look at how it does everything. Has anyone really caught up? It doesn't seem so. Even though like it makes for good news for someone to say, "Hey, WordPress is about to die. You better pay attention." And it's like, well, I guess some people are waiting for that to happen, but it's like until then, we still have all these other tools at our disposal. And so, as far as people using Work Hero, right? Like there's a need for websites to be like kept up to date, or keep them secure, or keep them fast, or work on the content. And so, like, as far as the tasks that you perform for these companies and agencies, what are people asking for when they say, hey, I need you to maintain my WordPress site? What does that entail usually?
Yeah, we do three things basically, and one of them is build websites. So most agencies these are marketing agencies. So a lot of them are into doing website development, website design, things like that for their clients. So they're coming to us and they're going, okay, we build about 3 websites a month or something like that, and then we take on those builds. And sometimes those are usually it's not they're not all the same kind of website builds. So some of them are really simple, some of them are more complex, and so that's a lot of what we work with. And then there's the support side, which is they have websites that they're doing the support on. A lot of times this is like small to medium sized agencies. So maybe the owner is doing some of the support. Maybe they have a freelancer that is doing some of it. And they just kind of have this hodgepodge system that isn't really working. And the owner is spending way too much time dealing with this. So then they just go to us, and then our team of developers just takes care of all those support tasks that come in from their clients. So it could be like a white label type of thing where the clients are going directly to us, or they're just sending the task to us, and then we're taking care of them. So that's kind of, those are the two areas. The third one is the maintenance. That's just monthly maintenance, taking care of the daily backups, the security, all the plugin updates, all that kind of stuff. And that is not our focus, but we do handle maintenance for some of our customers as well. So that's something we can do.
Well, and it's great to know that this sort of service exists, right? If someone is dealing with all these tasks, like you said, there's the maintenance, but there's also just the building of the websites. If you do anything without a structured plan, and especially if you do it for the first time or you're making it up as you go along, it's so frustrating, right? It requires like way too much brain power than it seems like, and all these hitting dead ends and all these false starts, and it's no fun. And you think, well, what if business could be fun again, right? What if I was just dealing with the clients, or landing some of these sales, and then handing the grunt work off to Mr. Kevin Koskella and his team at Work Hero to just do all these things that are just, let's face it, WordPress is amazing and does everything, but it can be sometimes aggravating with any software just to figure out like this little exception, or this little thing, that this menu to find in the software. And when there's someone that is doing this all day, every day, dedicated to it, then it's fun for them, right? And they know how to deal with all the little unexpectedness, and it's a great pricing model, right? Like it's what I do for my podcasting people. I'm just like, hey, it's a flat fee. And you look at like the Design Pickles of the world, right? They say, hey, if you're cranking out the t-shirts and the e-commerce images, it's just a flat fee, and we just continuously do the work. But it can sometimes be a struggle to build your business, to deal with the growth, and to get the marketing messaging figured out. And that's always fun to talk about, right? You're solving problems. So as far as growing Work Hero since the last time that we spoke, what have been the struggles, obstacles, roadblocks for you?
Yeah, so our biggest challenge generally is we grow, we add new customers, and then we have to have enough developers to service those customers. So that's always an ongoing challenge. And what happened, I think, last year was that I think it was like early last year, we got to a point where we just had one team of developers, one group of developers, and that was it. I think we were up to maybe 12 or something like that, and they're all working on the same team. Then we started growing, like February, March, April, we were really growing a lot, adding new customers. Each customer has different, things they need. And so what was happening is that we were seeing that we needed to group our developers. We needed to separate them into different groups. So and that was a big challenge because we hadn't done that before. We just had developers and we had customers, and they just matched up. But then once we first tried to do it with geography, like, because we have developers in the Philippines and Latin America, and it was kind of based on geography. And then slowly we started realizing that that wasn't really working that well. And we're also getting customers that have they need custom code, they need different things that we have specialists in. We already have specialists, so we started grouping the team more into, okay, this is the custom code group, this is the SEO group, this is the like each specialty. and that's worked out a lot better. So now when you request a task with us, you can even send it to one of our departments instead of having us, just kind of sending a task and then waiting. So yeah, that was really our biggest challenge. We kind of slipped up at the beginning trying to do the geographical groups, but now we have a good system. It's working, and I think the customers are happy. Everything goes smoothly. Yeah. So
Well, that's great, and it seems like there's two challenges you had there, right? There's one is like the team doing the work has to be the right size to handle the clients, and if you have too much of one or the other, that's not good, right? Either you have waste because there's not enough clients, or too many clients, and then the work's not getting done well or in a timely fashion, and so that's kind of
right.
quite the balancing act. And then there's also this grouping issue, and you hear about that a lot, and it's fun to think about, right? When people like draw little diagrams, and like the org chart, the way you used to think of it is like there's the top and it all trickles down. But then when there's more of the grouping of cells, that seems like it's more interesting, and it's something that can kind of grow a little better and be more efficient as far as saying like, okay, well, do we put all the like SEO people together, for example, and so that way there's just less bottlenecks all around, right? There's not the bottleneck of the person giving the orders, but there's also not the bottlenecks of the customers and the clients. And so as far as just the fun that you've been having, right? It's always a challenge to stay motivated and keep moving forward with your business. But we've all heard kind of like all the cliches, right? They tell you to wake up early and have a to-do list and drink water and be accountable, and all that stuff is good. But as far as like unique things that have perhaps surprised you as far as like your own motivation and your own speed, like have there been any ahas in that department? Like just what's shocked and surprised you as far as productivity, business, anything like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I would say that the thing that's been surprising on the good side is that we've kind of had this team that's sort of gelled together, and I don't give myself the credit for building the team necessarily. It's just that we had a couple of key people that we hired early on, and then we started getting referrals for other developers, and then other people that we have a customer success manager, we've got a VA, we've got other people on the team, and they just work so well together, and everybody seems happy. Everybody seems like they're enjoying their job, which is really important because I don't want a team that just is working for money. There's got to be something beyond money that is keeping them motivated. And so whenever we have team meetings and things like that, which we don't have a lot of team meetings, but when I interact with the workers, the developers, I'm always impressed at how motivated they are, and how it's like I'm not pushing them in any way. I'm not, I'm not the boss. I just kind of organize things, and that's it. And then I set it in motion, and then it just kind of worked out. And I think as far as from a management perspective, that is the most surprising thing, at how little I've tried to do things and how much it's worked out anyway.
Right. Yeah. It's sort of I imagine a blow to the ego, right? Of like building up other people, and then it works out. Maybe not at first, but it works out better than if you had done it. And you say, well, hey, now this frees me up for the more higher level tasks. And so it seems like there's the lows and then the highs, right? There's the lows of saying like, oh man, like I shouldn't have been doing this, and but now other people can, and then it frees you up to do other things. And I'm curious about like what things are those now that you're better empowering your team, then there's more focus and time to do the publicity, like you're on a podcast right now. But as far as just like those higher level tasks, what has been on your mind, or what have you been like just tinkering with as far as the bigger picture?
Yeah, I still do the sales calls. So we have prospects that book calls with us. I still do most of those. I've kind of been training someone a little bit on doing those. So that's one thing that I'm pretty much, and I still want to do them, even though I think eventually I don't want to be the one taking all the calls, because it's like there's a time sink there. But that helps me to really understand what the market is saying. So it keeps me like I know the heartbeat of the market, right? So I kind of know what people want, what people are asking for, the questions they have, all that. But I focus more on like the partnerships. There's been a few different ways that we've built a few partnerships, and that's kind of been more what I want to do, is like kind of a bigger picture, because we work mostly with smaller agencies, but I want to kind of scale up and work with a little bit bigger agencies, and maybe someday working with like giant agencies, because I think we can do it. It's just that we have to understand, the needs change when you go up the ladder. It's like the little tiny agencies have certain needs, and then you get bigger, and then it's like, oh, they need other things. And so that's kind of been my focus, is how are we going to grow to be able to service like the bigger agencies.
Well, that's great. And that seems like it all relates to this idea of developing your people skills and having these conversations. You're going to give me flashbacks to 25, 30 years ago when I was figuring out what to do with my life. And I was like, well, I'll do all this computer programming and stuff like that. But there's definitely a cap, a limit to that if you don't know about management, or if you don't know about marketing, publicity. If you just kind of hide in your box, hide behind your computer screen, that's great. You have a skill, you have a needed service, but you're limited in your growth. And versus if you grow your own company, and you need to have these conversations. And so you're saying that you still do the sales calls, but you offload some of that, so that way you can still kind of keep your finger on the pulse about what people want. And then you're just more people skills as far as developing your team and having these conversations. And you always hear about these agencies, guys like you, who are like looking to get the bigger clients, and like, bigger clients, bigger companies mean bigger ticket, mean longer lead time, means a lot of new skills to be developed. But it seems to all center around the listening and the people skills and the follow-ups and just the longer timelines. And never mind once you land that sale, right? Another longer timeline, another dealing with many people and kind of bigger problems, but also bigger solutions. And so I'm excited for you, Mr. Kevin, about what you've done and where you're going and what's ahead for you. And so if someone says, man, Work Hero, this sounds like a great thing to dial my business into, right? WordPress development, support, proactive maintenance, white label. So just for like podcasting soundbite purposes, what's the elevator pitch for Work Hero? If someone says Work Hero, what is that? Then what is it?
Yeah, so we're a subscription for scaling agencies that need to outsource their WordPress development, including websites, website builds, support tasks, things like that. So we take away the headaches, and we do it at a affordable cost for any US or UK agency that wants to grow.
Very nice. And as far as taking action on that, is useworkhero.com the place to go?
Yeah, that's our website. That's where you can find out more.
Very great. Well, thanks to Mr. Kevin Koskella and useworkhero.com, outsourcing your development work has never been so easy. If you're tired of dealing with unreliable and inexperienced developers, project delays, bug fixes, vague updates, then it's time to get some seasoned, high-quality web development services that you can rely on and trust. Unlock the full potential of your projects with Kevin's team of experienced developers. That is useworkhero.com, useworkhero.com. Go there, click on the button to book a call. You'd be glad you did, and have that conversation with either Mr. Kevin himself or someone on the sales team, and explain your situation and see if their very excellent team of WordPress people can help and just make your business fun again. That way you don't have to like be stressing out about version 9.2 of this or this one bug. You can just kind of offload some of that work and focus on what really matters. So that's useworkhero.com. But before I let you go, Mr. Kevin, it's time for the scary part of the show where I try to put you on the spot and I ask for a quote or lesson that has served you in life or business. So what comes to mind for a quote or lesson?
Yeah, I would say it's not being attached to the outcome. That has been something that has helped me so much over the years, because once you start, it's expecting things to happen, it should go this way. And that, how it is, Robert, like you're in
Oh,
business, and it's like it never goes the way it's supposed to go in your head when you have it all planned out. Oh, this is how it will go. It never goes like that. It always takes longer. It's always more of a challenge than you think it will be, whatever you start. So yeah, I think just that kind of Buddhist concept of not being attached to the outcome, detachments, that kind of thing.
and that's tricky, isn't it? The flexibility and letting go, because it is important to have your goals. But then something that helped me once was someone said that anger happens when your expectations are too high. I was like, whoa, that's huge. So it is important to have those goals and those milestones, but you're totally right that if you're so attached to the outcome, then you might just drive yourself crazy. You might make stupid decisions. There might be a sunk cost, and it's very tricky to navigate. But it's the first step is to have awareness. So you're saying don't be attached to the outcome, but do be attached to the short-term task right now of going to useworkhero.com. Don't use Manus to do it yourself. Someday Manus will do it for you, but go to useworkhero.com, click on that button, book a call, and have that conversation with Mr. Kevin about how you can increase your agency WordPress development capacity by 2x while saving up to 90% of costs at a flat monthly fee. You can perhaps rent his army of vetted developers at a flat, cost-effective fee. No contracts, no surprises, cancel anytime, risk-free, 60-day money-back guarantee. You're going to love it. Use workhero.com. And thank you, Mr. Kevin, for stopping by again, giving us some excellent business insights with WordPress, with people, with growing an agency. I really appreciate it. Work Hero is amazing and excellent. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks so much, Robert, for having me on. I really had a good time.